Welcome everyone. Here is a question from GATE 2024 Life Sciences. The question says, in a genetic cross between two pure line parents differing in the two independently segregating traits, plant height, tall versus dwarf, and flower color, purple versus white, all the F1 plants were tall with purple flowers. In a test cross population involving these F1 individuals, the expected percentage of dwarf plants with purple flower would be, we need to find out this value. So we can write all the information which is given here. There are two different characters. One is plant height and the other is flower color. The two traits of the plant height are tall, dwarf. We can consider tall as a dominant and we can represent it with the help of T. Remember, the tall plants are going to have genotype either capital T or capital T, small t. Since tall is dominant, a single copy of capital T is sufficient enough to show its phenotype. However, dwarf being recessive, it needs to be in a homozygous condition. Similarly, for the flower color, purple is dominant, which we can represent it with the capital P or capital P small p. The other trait is white flower, which I can represent it with small p, small p. So keeping all these information, so it says cross between two pure line parents. Pure line parents are homozygous for a particular trait. And the F1 progeny given here is, the phenotype is tall with purple flowers. And as I said, the parental generation are pure line parents, which means these are homozygous for a particular trait. And the cross is in between the two independently segregating traits. So you can consider one parent as a tall plant producing purple color flower and the other one being dwarf and producing white color flower. And as I said, since these are the pure line, we need to consider homozygous. So the tall purple and then the dwarf and white. You can even choose a parental genotype, which could be tall plant producing white and a dwarf plant producing purple. In all these cases, what we'll get at F1 is the tall and purple phenotype. The other thing which we need to understand here is that such kind of a parents, pure line parents, they are going to produce a single kind of a gamete, which is capital T, capital P. And this parent is always going to produce a gamete of a small t and a small p. These gametes will fuse together to form a tall and purple of a particular genotype, capital T, small t, capital P, and a small p. The next part says all the F1 plants were tall with purple flowers, correct? In a test cross population. Test cross is a phenomenon where you cross it with a parent of recessive genotype. So you take a progeny of F1 generation and you cross it with a homozygous recessive genotype. That's what we are going to do next. So we have this F1 progeny and we are going to cross it with a parent of recessive homozygous genotype, which in this case is going to be small t, and small p and small p. The kind of gametes which this parent is going to produce is small t and small p, law of segregation. And we need to consider the law of independent assortment here for forming the gametes. Same here, the different kind of gametes which are going to be produced here is 4, which could be capital T, capital P, capital T, small p, small t, capital P, and small t, small p, each having a percentage of 25 or 1/4, you can say. Now we need to read the question. What it has been asked? It has been asked to calculate the expected percentage of dwarf plants with purple flowers. So we need to look for a progeny having dwarf plant and purple flower. So as I said, the dwarf is a recessive condition for that the genotype has to be small t, and for the purple flower the progeny has to carry at least a single copy of capital P. Now let's have a look here. There are two parents here. This one coming from the F1 and I'm making a test cross. This is always going to produce the gamete small t, and this has to be present in the progeny. So we can represent that with a small p here. And then the other parent contributing a small t, capital P, which is only going to be the condition in this particular case. So only when these two will combine, that will result in the generation of a progeny having this particular genotype, and this will result in the phenotype which is mentioned in the question. So what will calculate the expected percentage of dwarf plants with purple flower, and that is going to be 25%, because this plant is always going to give us the gamete small t small p, while this plant from the F1 progeny is going to give us the four different kind of gametes, each having a probability of 25. So applying the law of multiplication, it is going to be 25 into 1. I hope this answer is clear to each and every one of you. If you do have any question, feel free to comment. Thanks for watching the video.